This is the Thrive Podcast with Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. And now, Pastor Fred Jeff Smith.
Hello. Welcome to the Thrive Podcast with the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. I'm Fred Jeff Smith, pastor of Shiloh, and I'm very happy that you're taking the time to either view this on YouTube or listen to it on iTunes. We thank you for being listeners and viewers of the Thrive Podcast, and we invite you to write us and let us know how we're doing with the Thrive Podcast. You can write me at fredjeffsmith@cox.net and just let us know how we're doing, good, bad, or otherwise, so that we can make this podcast something that is beneficial to our entire audience. I'm very happy today to welcome to the Thrive Podcast Miss Elle Marie. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing great, and yourself?
I'm doing very well. Tell me, who is Elle Marie?
Okay, so Elle Marie is a fashion stylist, and that's just a broad statement of my actual job title.
Mm-hmm.
Under that umbrella, I am a wardrobe stylist, I do editorial styling, and I also do personal styling.
Okay, tell me how you distinguish wardrobe styling from editorial styling, and how those two things go together. If I have in mind, when you say wardrobe stylist, you tell people what they will look best in when they're when they're dressed. Editorial styling has to do with how things appear in periodicals or on social media sites. Is that correct? Am I right on that?
To a certain extent.
Okay.
Okay. So wardrobe styling is pretty much, in my definition, is pretty much geared towards going into your home, the actual wardrobe that's in your home, and styling from that, from your wardrobe from home. So pretty much letting you know the 80-20 rule, which is like the key rules of things that you should have, things that you should get rid of, things that you should. People don't really like that, but
okay.
And again, it's all, of course, opinion based, but most people don't have that creative eye to know, like, okay, I can wear this blazer about 5 times in these different looks. And
they're paying you for your opinion.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So that's as far as with the wardrobe styling. With editorial, it's more so in print, in magazines. So, and it can be like billboards and stuff like that too.
And that has to do with how things are arranged, or what someone wears when they're on the billboard or in the magazine.
So that has to do with theme based. So you can just say we go in a restaurant and you it's a sushi plate of sushi.
Okay.
And they say, okay, our theme is we are actually highlighting this restaurant, but we want you to make the clothes fit this actual sushi plate, which is their best seller. So now I have to take this sushi and make it into a look with the clothes, not actually taking sushi and putting it on clothes, but like there's this thing called color blocking.
Right.
So color blocking is when you have on the color wheel, there are colors that actually can blend together and combine together in a block of each other. So if the sushi has white, green, and orange, all with, in the sushi roll, so then I take that look, those colors, and create a look in white, green, and orange for those for that actual look for the magazine. So we are creating that theme of color blocking. So I may put the white, maybe the belt may be the white belt that's separating the orange and the green, and some nude shoes, and very minimalistic jewelry, because when you already color blocking, you don't want to just like overdo it and make it kind of look all over the place. Okay. So that's kind of when I was trying to explain the whole theme-based thing.
And that's very interesting.
So that's what it is. I mean, it could be with anything. I mean, because even with 225, I had to take some Oreo ice cream and create a look from the Oreo ice cream.
So well, I want to cover a couple of things you mentioned. You mentioned the 80-20 rule. What's the 80-20 rule?
Okay, so the 80-20 rule is pretty much eliminated what needs to be there and what don't need to be there. Because sometimes we have dated things in our closet that we'll never wear again. And we always hanging it up there like, okay, so I'm going to get back in this, or I'm going to wear this again and this and that. And it's there for like years and years, and it's no need, And then it's on this old wire hanger that you're just never going to use you're just not gonna use none of that. So you just throw it away. Or, well, I shouldn't say throw it away. You should give it away.
Okay.
You know, if it's not damaged, you should give it away.
Okay.
Or if it's something that you can recreate. Like if it's a blazer or if it's a shirt that you can recreate it into another piece, like maybe cut it up and put it on something, on some jeans or on something like that. Like me, I like to recreate denim. So this was an old blazer that I had and some old jeans. So I took the jeans that I'm never going to wear again, and I took the blazer and I just recreated it into a new look. So now this is a whole, it's something that was old that's transformed into something new that you can wear again. So it just really depends on how it is, and also it depends on the style of the person too, because everybody's not going to probably wear this jacket, you know, and everybody's probably not going to wear something that they have in their closet already again. So you eliminate it in some form of fashion. As far as, that's why it's called the 80-20. You keep 80% of what you're going to wear and 20% of what you're not going to.
You do this for both men and women, or primarily women, or what?
I do it for both men and women.
Okay.
So, I mean, actually I do it for whomever want to obtain the services. It can be from child to
I guess my question is more, who comes to you seeking your services?
Mostly,
primarily,
mostly women.
Mostly women.
Yes.
Okay. So, for the guys who come to you and seek your services, are these mostly people who are in certain professions? We were talking before we started, and you said that you do a lot in real estate. Is that helping people who sell real estate have a certain look when they go out and sell, or what?
So, and that's the next part of when I sit under the fashion umbrella, the image consulting part. So when I'm doing the personal styling, it comes with image consulting too. So most of my real estate are women that I work with. And the guys that I have two comedians, which, well, he's not one of them is not a comedian anymore. He's like CEO. He's actually creating shows and bringing shows here for individuals, but he still kept me on as far as his stylist. So, and his name is Said, and then I have another comedian that I work with. His name is AO. Okay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him or not, but
I have had several comedians on here.
Yeah.
So,
they are close with Howard Hall too. So
Howard,
you know
Howard and his wife have both been on, and we had wonderful conversations with both of them. So I am a little bit familiar with that. So there is a demand out there among young people, young professionals, to achieve a certain look that they perceive as being important to their overall image and their overall success.
And that's the thing, exactly, because most people that get into like high-ranking positions are trying to just brand themselves. Branding comes with image, you know, because the first thing people see is your image. Right. And then when you speak, it's like, oh, she got it all together, you know, she look good, she speak well and everything. However, when you walk into a room, the first thing people see is your attire. So that's why people seek stylists and stuff like that, because they want to create an image or create a certain thing that's going to be relatively geared towards their actual business or something they're starting up. And some people keep you on, and if they have to go to like a gala or some type of event, you know, they call them a stylist, because most times stylists have different connections with other fashion houses and stores and stuff that they can pull looks or get first dibs on looks before it actually hit the scenes or something like that.
Okay. How did you decide on this, not as just an interest, but as something that you could make a living out of?
Okay, so that's a funny story.
Okay.
I started out in nursing.
Really?
Yeah. I thought I wanted to be this big pediatrician. It's crazy. But I think it was more so because me and my grandmother were really close, and she's a nurse. And that's, you know, I was like, man, she's doing really good. You know, I want to go into this nursing thing, you know. So I was going towards that way, but I always had just like a love of just like recreating things and and putting looks together and clothes together. I mean, at that point, I didn't have my own money like that coming in to go and buy stuff.
Right.
But I would cut out little things in the magazines and place them together and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. You know, that may work. I always used to mix prints and do things like that. But I never knew it was an actual profession at the time. I just knew I just liked doing it. So, even when I was supposed to be studying with nursing, like we called it the Nursing Bible. It was like a thick book. I would have the book open, but I would have like Vogue magazine. You know? I would always have it on the side, and it's like I would always just kind of
gravitate towards that.
And it's kind of like, okay, I have to do something about this. But I was just too nervous to tell my family, like, this is something that I want to do, because, I mean, nobody thinks that fashion is something that you can actually, like, succeed in life in the South, I'm gonna say that, at that time. But so I just couldn't muster up to tell them that that's what I wanted to do. So I kind of fought through the nursing program. But what made me say that I can't do this anymore, one of my clients was like really, really sick, and they said that and I may be saying the terminology wrong, but they say he had chronic diarrhea or something like that, and he was pretty much like passing, getting ready to die. But you have to make them comfortable, you know, clean them up and this and that, whatever. And I couldn't do it. You know, as a nurse, you have to keep this straight face and this and that. And it's like when you turn him over, he's defecating everywhere. I just knew, you know, it just, when I was going to the actual med surge floors and stuff, I just didn't have a love for it. You know, I think I'm doing this more so for somebody and not for myself. Right. So I had to just make a change. So I changed my major, but I didn't tell my family until like maybe a semester before graduating. And I changed it to psychology, which I really did. I love psychology. And I needed psychology because I needed to know the psyche of my clients, that just knowing how they think, the structure of what they was thinking and stuff like that, because just like a hairstylist, fashion stylists become I guess what is it? I can't get it out. What was it?
A sounding board?
A sounding board, but it's another word that I'm thinking of, but I can't think about it. I can't think of it right now. However, you become someone that they just can talk to, confide in, and tell all of, you know.
A confidant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Psychologist, that's the word.
Okay.
You become like a psychologist because they want to sit down and just tell you everything, you know. And so I just felt like I needed to know a little bit more of how to understand people, you know.
And people's clothing are an expression of their personality.
Exactly.
And in some cases of their moods.
Yeah. In most cases of their mood.
Now, let's talk about that for a second. I'm going to use myself as I'm going to be your client for the next 5 minutes, okay? Okay. I'm 57 years old. I pastor a church. I am grossly overweight, 355 pounds. I primarily wear suits. I don't think I look too good in bright colors, so I tend to stick to dark colors. The brightest color I have is maybe a gray. What are you going to do with me?
So
how you going to fix me?
So so I actually set up consultations with every client that I have. Okay. And I have a list of questions that we go through, and
give me a sampling of some of your questions.
Okay, so one of the questions would be, what is something that you want to accentuate? What is something that you want to hide?
I want to hide my fat belly. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I want to hide.
That's what you want to hide.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and you told me that you like wearing suits, but you're afraid to wear lighter suits because of what?
I don't, because I think that lighter suits highlight my size. I think darker suits tend to conceal how large I actually am.
And then that can all go into the fit. So you would definitely, I would suggest that someone come in and we do a fitting and let you know the structure of your body, because suits come in all different structures, all different forms, all different fits.
Okay.
So we would try on all different fits to see which one that's different from the fit that you always wear.
Okay.
And then into the new, the newer stage fit. Not to make you wear any skinny pants or young.
I was about to say, I can't wear skinny suits. No.
Not nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying they have suits that can be appropriate for your age per se.
Okay.
So we'll just go through all those different fits, and I guarantee you, out of all of those different fits, you would select one. Then from there, when you talk about the color, now we will go into different color schemes, because you say bright colors, but fall colors are darker colors,
right,
but they still have a tone to them, like burgundies, purples. People think purple and they instantly think lavender. That's not the only shade of purple they have. That's the same thing I was talking about on the color wheel. So I will show you those colors on the color wheel, and then you can see, like, okay, these are the purples. Purple can range from lavender all the way up to the deepest, darkest purple. And it's still on the darker range, but it still has some tone to it.
Okay.
So those are the things that, not to kind of manipulate you, but to show you that,
to present my best self.
And to show you that there are other ways outside of black and gray.
I heard you mention about you were a minimalist when it comes to jewelry and accessories. Did I get that right?
No, when you're doing like mixing prints,
okay,
you keep it minimal.
Okay.
But if it's like solids and just say, I like dainty jewelry anyway. I'm not like those big, huge necklaces and stuff. Not saying I didn't before, but as I've matured in the style, and I like more like things like that, because I like to mix print. I like to mix different colors and be a little bit more daring with clothes. So you don't want to do too much jewelry.
However, see, I'm not a jewelry person at all, and that's why I was asking, because I wear a wedding band, I wear a watch. I don't wear rings on every finger. I don't wear bracelets.
Right.
I don't wear necklaces, things of that sort. Would that frustrate you?
No, because again, with the actual consultation and the questionnaire, I go with what your profession is and what's suitable for that.
Okay.
So just because, I may style another guy in something, that don't mean that I want you to look exactly like him. Every person that I style has their own character. They have their own personality. They have their own style. So nobody is going to be styled the exact same.
Okay.
Even if they see something, they say, "Oh, I want that." I don't do it.
Okay. So you're interested in me finding my best look.
Yes.
You're not interested in me finding the Elle Marie look.
Yes, exactly.
Am I saying that correctly?
Exactly. It's just going to be the Elle Marie touch.
Okay. I like that. The Elle Marie touch.
Yes.
Okay. So you told your parents in the last semester that you weren't going into nursing and that you were going to pursue a different career.
Yes.
Did they throw you out of the house?
No.
What happened after that?
No, because I told them that, I was going in psychology, and then my financial aid was running out. So I had to make a decision.
I understand.
So when I switched my major, I actually ran out of financial aid because I had to stay in a year longer than what it is. So I advise anybody wherever you go, declare your major and know that's what you want to do, because I am like to my wit's end with paying salary because of the simple fact that I changed my major from nursing. I was already 2 years into the actual nursing program.
Okay.
So when I switched my major over, I had to retake other classes to get back in another major.
Okay.
So it set me back a year.
Okay.
So however, I told, my family that, and they were still fine with that because they didn't know it was fashion at the time. It was psychology. So graduated from there. I started working in my actual field of psychology, and I was fulfilled in it, but it still was just in the back of my head, like, I have to do something with fashion. Like, I have to do it, I can't just let this just wipe away. It wouldn't wipe away. So I opened up a boutique, which that's something that it was an online boutique. It wasn't something that I really wanted to do, but I was like, that's a little something I can kind of get into, and I can show my creativity in styling. So I did that. I started creating my own photo shoots and had models, and I was, and it was actually selling and doing really good, but I still wasn't fulfilled because this is not something that I wanted to do. So I stopped that. I was selling sunshades and T-shirts and clothes and all kind of stuff. I felt like I was just all over the place because I was trying to get to my end goal, which was where I'm at now. And I just had to stop it, and I was like, you know what? I have to walk out on faith and just do what's in me to do, like what I love doing. And the funny thing is, I ended up getting really, really sick. Like sick to where they didn't know if I was going to make it. I had double pneumonia, and okay, try not to get emotional.
It's okay.
So I went in the hospital, and they were just like, oh, we don't know what's wrong with her, something's going on, her oxygen level is going down and everything, so we have to move her to ICU. So my grandmother is like, the strong person of the family, and when she broke down, it just scared me, because I asked her, I was like, am I about to die, because I don't know what's going on with me. Couldn't really breathe, couldn't really talk. So I went to ICU, and the last thing I can remember is them telling me, I just saw it was like a team of LSU doctors, in front of me, and they were just like, they were just trying to figure out what was going on, because all the tests were coming back negative. Nobody could figure out what was going on. So when I got in ICU, they just they start hooking me up to stuff and putting this big old mask on my face and everything. And they were just telling my grandmother and my mom, like, we just have to act fast, because she's below the oxygen level, and she's not going to make it if we don't do something. All in all, I made it out of there. Yeah. I mean, I felt, I made it out. God had another plan, because even at the place that I was working, my the supervisor there was telling me that her niece had just died from the same thing. She went to the hospital, they sent her home, and she died on the elevator. So it just freaked me out even more, while I'm in the hospital, and I'm just like, she would tell me this now, but like I say, I made it out of there because I just was like, okay, I felt like God just had another plan for me, and I just felt like I couldn't procrastinate no more on what I wanted to do in life, as far as all of the things that I wanted to do as a stylist, just the things that I wanted to create, even with the youth. So once I got out the hospital and got all myself back together, it took some months, like literally a lot of months, to get back together and get myself just back hold again, and started back working. But even though I started back working, I said, this is it. I'm getting ready to create myself as a stylist. So I started looking up different schools and places where I can go to kind of just get more knowledgeable, research just the styling aspect itself, like how you can make money, how you can brand yourself, because I had to create my own image. I had to be my own stylist, because I had to recreate myself from becoming from case management and working in that field of psychology to now becoming a stylist, having people see me as that.
So talk about the rebranding of yourself.
So
what is entailed in rebranding yourself?
Because as you know, I said earlier, I had a boutique,
right.
So people just knew me from selling clothes, not as being a stylist, actually creating looks, creating an image, creating that newfound for that person, just helping them just rebrand themselves. So when I say rebrand myself, I had to start doing my own photo shoots of myself, in different looks. So I started off styling myself in different looks, taking photos. I hired on a photographer to come and just take some photos of me around town and just posting myself where I was getting things from. I started going thrifting and showing people how I can take thrift clothes and making them look modern day,
Amazing.
So, you know, and you can really find nice pieces, you know, from the thrift store or whatever. So I just started doing a lot of things like that, and just showing people my creativity, showing them that side of me. And
how do you market something like that?
Well, thankfully,
is this Facebook or?
I was going to say, thankfully, we had, you know, social media to kind of help push that. However, I do have a website that I started. I didn't have anybody to I didn't have a lot of money to pay people to do my website and make it all elaborate and stuff. So it was there, but I catered more to like Facebook and social media, because you can post a picture up there and people say, oh, I like that. You know, I didn't know you do that, you know, and they see it there versus going to your rinky-dink website at the time. And it's like, oh, wait, that ain't good, you know? Yeah. So I kind of stayed there until I was able to, you know, get my website in a better position. So again, from there, just and then I would use my friends as models and style them from all different sizes, ages, and everything, and then doing collaborative shoots, you know, on things that I can show different people, like that I don't just style from only African Americans. I mean, I have a diverse clientele, you know, or I wanted a diverse clientele, so it wouldn't be just, you know, only just one market. You know, I wanted to expand and be as big as I can.
Right.
So, and I was just that's just what I kept doing. Then I found a school in LA that certifies you as a stylist. So, I went there, obtained my certification, and I came back, and it was full force from there. Wonderful. It was like, that's all I needed.
So what you're really saying is that you came to an understanding of what you should be doing, and then you pursued it with a great degree of intensity and commitment.
Absolutely.
And you were willing to make the sacrifices necessary in order to accomplish what you have currently accomplished.
Yes.
And it takes a certain degree of vulnerability to put yourself out there and say to people, I can help you if you give me the opportunity to do that. Even
when they say no, like, I mean, I wasn't afraid to stand on a mountain of no's for one yes. Like, I wasn't afraid to do that. I was okay with people telling me no. I was okay with people telling me I don't like this or this and that, because everybody's not going to like what you do.
Right.
Everybody's not going to be attracted to the clothes that you wear.
Right.
But everybody is not everybody in the world. You know, they have people who will come to you and who will want the services that you have and who will appreciate how you put things together and how you actually operate. Some people will come to you just because of your genuine spirit and consistency in what you do. You know, they may not even need a stylist, but they may be too busy to where they can't go and get this look and get that and, you know, and put this together and that, and a stylist is here.
Well, people are looking for ways to monetize fashion in kind of creative ways. I have noticed that there are companies, I can't think of the names of them, but I've seen the advertisements where you go online and you fill out a survey and they send you clothes and you keep what you like and
you send back what you
That's essentially doing what
they have style boxes and stuff like
what
that.
you do, except that they don't have a person doing it. They're doing it more with a group in mind in the background, and it's kind of anonymous because you're doing it online. I appreciate the fact that you're saying, I put myself out there. I put myself before the public. I said, look at me, and what I did for me, I can also do for you. And that takes a great degree of bravery, but it also takes a great degree of self-confidence in order to do what you've done. And so how many years have you been doing this now?
Well, from talking, I've been doing it all my life.
Right.
But professionally, actually, it'll be 7 years in July, but 1 year of me doing it completely without any extra, like me working a 9 to 5.
Okay.
Did I make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So you dipped your toe in the water, but you were also doing other things to pay the bills.
Yes.
Until you could eventually break away from that and pursue this on a full-time basis.
Yes. Even if I did, like when I broke away, okay, so I didn't really break away.
Okay.
I kind of was pushed away too. So when I came home from the hospital and everything, I still worked. You know, I was telling you I was still working on my job.
Right.
But as years went by, you know, I ended up going part-time in my job because me and one of my really good friends, we have a creative arts program called iGlam Academy. And it's girls living, achieving, and maturing. Mm-hmm. And we ended up getting into a high school. And that high school only had a slot open for a morning time for us to teach that course.
Okay.
So I went part-time in my job to be able to teach, go there in the morning and teach, and then come to my job in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I guess it just wasn't working out for the best for the job.
Mm-hmm.
And they called me in. And they said, well, Elle, you know, we just wanted to talk to you. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, she said it's not anything bad. And I said, well, usually when you come to to HR, it's something bad. They don't just call you to HR because, I mean, if you're going to get a raise, your supervisor can do that.
Right.
So, and she was like, well, we are here to let you go. And I was just like, okay. And I was like, what for? And she said, well, they didn't really give me the full gist of everything. I just know they're restructuring the program and the funding is doing this. And, you know, they always give you that excuse about the funding and stuff. So I said, okay. I said, that's fine. I said, it was great working with you all, you know. And before I even went up in there, I said a prayer to myself. I was like, you know what, Lord, if this is my last day here, let me walk out of there with some dignity and be okay with that, you know, because I'm fighting this thing that I want to do, you know. Just let me be okay with whatever they're going to tell me. And I wasn't upset. I just, you know, I thanked her, you know. It's like something in me was like, oh, now I asked for it.
Right.
And it came.
Right.
You know, I didn't ask him to do it you know, when you talk to God, you got to ask him how you want it and tell him how you want it, because if not, he going to do it, you know, how he want to do it.
Anyway,
exactly. So, and I mean, they let me go. I packed up my stuff, and nobody knew, not even, well, my supervisor said he didn't know, but nobody knew, and they all came in there and was like, what's going on? And I told them whatever. So they started kind of hugging me and was like, we don't want you to leave. And that's what kind of made me a little emotional at that point, because I have built a rapport with not only my clients that I was working with there, but my, you know, the staff as well. So right. When I went home, you know, I told my mom and everything, and I was just like, you know, I'm not going back to another job. I honestly don't know where the money's going to come from or how I'm going to do it, but this is what I want to do. I have to make this work because it's not leaving me. It's just in me. It's in me to do. I love it too much to just go back to another job and be in the same situation that I'm in, you know. So I was like, I have to do it. I have to do it and see if it's going to work. And if it don't work, I mean, I have a degree. I can always go back to work. You know, I can always go back to a 9-to-5 if I needed to. But that came to the point to where, like, when I said that I'm almost a year in July from being laid off. So
and you have been pursuing this singular avenue ever since then.
Yes, I was able to get my own studio. I have a studio on Wooddale.
That's a testimony.
I've obtained more clients.
Yeah.
I end up working with the mayor.
That's a testimony.
I was just like, you know, he just, you know, God just really been guiding this journey for me, you know, even when there's times where I'm like, man, so many you know, when the first of the month come around, it's just like, whew.
Yeah. That happens to everybody, trust me. Trust me.
And you kind of, I kind of doubt myself in that moment, but then he always show up. Like, he blessed me with blessings when I don't even know that, you know, when I'm not even looking for them, actually.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so my friend, I just came off a movie set one of my friends that I work with, the girl I was telling you that I started the youth program with, she told them about me as styling, and one of the people, the assistants on the movie set in the costume department, couldn't come back, so they called me, So that was not only a financial blessing, but it was also a blessing for me to learn costuming in movie theater, movies. So, so you look out for that soon.
and there is a bustling movie industry here in Baton Rouge and in Louisiana. So that's wonderful. So you've mentioned God several times, and that leads me to my question about your beliefs about how your spirituality plays into your success. One of the things that you have not said is that you're an entrepreneur. You're the head of your own business, and you're responsible not just for you, but for certain people around you, and that's an awesome responsibility to take on. How does your spirituality play a role? Does your spirituality play a role in what it is that you've been able to do and what it is that you expect to do as you move forward?
Okay, so I am an entrepreneur,
right?
But I'm not the head of my business. He is the head of my business. So
he being God.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have said that. But yes, God is the head of my business. He's been definitely seeing me through as an entrepreneur. And when I say he know my name, he know my name. I mean, it's just like, I talk to my friends all the time. I'm like, I just really just sat down and had a conversation with God, just letting him know all the things that's going on, the things I want to pursue, why is it not coming, or what am I not doing, and this and that or whatever. And it's always showed up in ways physically for me. Like, he would, I don't want to say he don't talk to me, but he talked to me in a ways where it's a physical action. Like, how some people was like, oh, I heard God talking to me, saying this is what you should do. I just hear it through actions. Like, he just always create different avenues or create different ideas for me to be able to expand or be able to move forward, or even just show me something, a sign saying it's gonna be okay. It may be rough right now, but I got you, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then I have a friend, when I say, I can call her and just say, I need a prayer. Like, I need you to speak to me, I need him to speak to you. Wait, I'm saying this wrong. I need you to speak to me, but I need it to be from him.
I understand.
And she is like, she is the best when it comes to that. It's like, she know exactly what to tell me to bring me back down from that. And I know it's coming from God, but it's just so easy to call her and say this, because she just know, I guess because we on the same creative path, so she kind of know how to know the right things to say in that moment, when it's coming from God. And so it plays a huge role in my life. I mean, I just literally prayed before I came here, because this is not something that I do. I always run from things like this, and he's always bringing it back to me.
So how you doing in this? I mean, how do you think you're doing?
I don't know.
I think you're doing pretty well.
I don't know. I'm just talking. I feel like I'm just talking too much.
You're more than halfway through it, and you haven't collapsed or anything. I think you're doing just great. You're a young woman who still goes to church.
Yes.
We talked about that before we started recording. A lot of young black people, even those who consider themselves to be spiritual, have left the church. They don't go to church on a regular basis. What goes into your decision to attend church as opposed to those who have made the decision to forego church?
For me, I just like being in the atmosphere of just that praise and worship, and just getting that word, because sometimes you just need people to you need to be in the house of worshipers speaking, that word to you from the pastor. And you don't necessarily have to be in the house to receive the word, but it's just, for me, it's just a different feeling that I get when I'm amongst everybody worshiping and praying and worshiping and praying, and just receiving a good word. It's just, it don't change the direction of the week, but it just give you a different feeling. I can't explain the feeling that it gives me, per se. I know some people have issues because of how other people actually act in the church, certain people, how they act. But the thing about it is, people can say and do what they want or how they want, but if you're coming there for a sole purpose of receiving what God has for you, that don't matter,
Yeah, I've often wondered about that. I mean, I've spent my entire life in the church, so I know I come at it from a totally biased point of view. But you don't have a problem with negative people in your social groups. You don't have a problem with negative people in your sorority or in your fraternity or in whatever other group that you're a part of. You persevere. You go through it. You find a way to maneuver around the negativity in order to receive that which you see as beneficial from being a part of that group. I don't know why it is that when we come to the church, we expect everybody to be positive all the time. We expect everybody to be pristine all the time. We expect everybody to be supportive all the time. Church is made up of people.
Yeah.
And people are people, I don't care where they are. They don't stop being people when they walk into a church. So I applaud the fact that you can find something positive from the worship experience, even though sometimes you will be confronted by people who are less than positive. And I think that that's an important message for people to come away with.
We all have our faults. It's things that we all need to work on. But I do think it's more so of the expectations of people when they think about the church.
But the expectations are unrealistic, and that's the point that I like to make. They ought to be. Okay, well, everybody ought to be better than they are. All of us, as you just said, have faults. We have failures. We have frailties. My father, who used to pastor this church, used to talk about the fact that he was keenly aware. He used to love to use that word, keenly aware of my faults and my imperfections. Well, I think anybody and everybody ought to be aware of their faults and imperfections and ought to mute them as much as possible. But you and I both know, we've lived long enough to know, that that's not always going to be the case. I'm not going to let somebody else's fault or failure or frailty stop me from getting the maximum benefit out of being a part of a church and a worship experience. So I applaud the fact that you still continue to attend church, which leads me to the next question that I wanted to ask. I do this podcast in part because I want to learn from young people. I want to have conversations with people who I typically would not have a conversation with in order to draw from their knowledge and from their experience. As the pastor of a traditional Black Baptist church in the city of Baton Rouge, what is it that I can learn about what young people expect from their church? What is it that I can take away from this that can help me to make Shiloh a better church for young people?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to say because I've never been here before, but I will say things are now navigating towards media, and when I say media, like social media, like a lot of visual. We are now visual learners. We want to see things. We like metaphors that can be. We can actually just understand, because sometimes we can read the Bible and we don't really understand it, But if it's put into a place to where we can understand it in a way that we can receive it, then I think that that's something that can be done. I'm not saying that you don't do that. I'm just saying just as a whole.
But you think that being more visual and being more media savvy is more attractive to younger people?
Yes, absolutely. Because, I mean, when I can't, because I was going to a church, and I attend another church now, but when I couldn't go to church, or maybe if I woke up late to go to church, just to be honest, you know, I would go to a church that's live streaming, or I would look at something on YouTube. You know, it may have been an old sermon, but it may be something that you needed. Yeah, that I needed at that moment. Sure. And it's one guy I watch all the time. I can't think of his name. I want to say he's in Dallas, or he's somewhere in Texas, I want to say. But he always used like objects to talk about what he's referencing from the Bible. And it just makes you understand it more, because you're looking at what he's saying, and he's actually, like, if he's talking about something, I'm trying to think of something that he actually talked about, but whatever scripture he read from the Bible, he'll just visually act it out. Not act it out. Visually have things to act it out. Okay. You know, like to show you this is what it is. Because honestly, sometimes we speed read and we don't really catch every word, you know? Yeah. So but if we see it and we understand it, it just goes back to, like I was saying, you know, when somebody walk in the room, all they're gonna see is your clothing and stuff first. Right. So if we're seeing it and we're seeing how it's being done and what it takes, and just visually, it just helps us to understand more. And I shouldn't say us, I'm just gonna say me as a young person. It helps me to understand more, because I'm a visual learner. Right. I can look at something, and if you're teaching it visually, I can grasp it and be like, okay, yeah, I get that now. But I'm not a person that reads all the time. You know, I probably should read more, but I can read to understand, but I'm a visual learner. So if I see it, I understand it a little bit more versus reading it.
I understand. You have lived in Washington, D.C., you told me, for a time, and you spent
short period.
Short period. You've lived in California, Los Angeles, briefly. Most of your time has been here in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge. As a young person, what do you think about Baton Rouge? Is this a place where you can see yourself living out the rest of your life, or do you see other opportunities elsewhere that might carry you away from Baton Rouge?
Well, I mean, in the field, I mean, of course, there's different opportunities that I can say, oh yeah, you know, I can, you know, if I was there, I can get that or what have you. But I can't say that and it's not happening. Like, I can't just jump up and move. I'm not gonna say I can't. I'm not gonna just jump up and move because I see somebody that got this opportunity because they moved. That probably was for them. That was their season. That was for them to move and get that position or what have you. That's not for me right now. You know, when that opportunity comes for me, I'm not saying that I wouldn't go. However, I'm not saying that I'm just running away from Baton Rouge either, because I've built a foundation here as far as with the youth program that we have. So I wouldn't just cut everything out because, you know, people always tell me, oh, you know, you need to move because Baton Rouge is not a place for the fashion scene and this and that. You know, sometimes when it's not your season to move or do whatever, you need to create opportunities for yourself where you are. And when you create those opportunities, different opportunities come from that, you know. So I honestly don't want to completely pack up and move and say I'm away from Baton Rouge, but I would definitely love to work in other states and say, you know, I'm out here for maybe a couple of weeks working, but I'm coming back home. I always want Baton Rouge to be home, but I definitely would love to go and work in different places and travel and stuff like that. So
I appreciate you taking the time to come by and share with us today. I hope this hasn't been painful for you. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've learned certain things, and maybe I can get you to help me put the right shirt and tie combination with my suit.
I got you.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back again next time.